Hey bird nerds, it's Chris. Bringing you guys another video today. Today's video will be a little bit different. I've had a lot of people ask me how I clean my cage, bird room, or my aviaries, that sort of thing. What's my cleaning routine? How do I do it? And so we're gonna kind of walk through that a little bit today. I'm gonna show you guys how I clean my bird shed. I have different levels of cleaning. Typically every Saturday is when I do my cleaning. Today I'm doing it Friday. Today's the 4th of July. I got Friday off at work, so figured we'd clean it today before we have all the family come over and we party tonight. And so just wanted to show you guys. So I typically clean my cages every Saturday, just to show you how fast it gets dirty. Look at the bottom of their cages. I mean, they got lots of poop everywhere. So birds are pretty messy. They get dirty really quickly. I use newspaper as the base to cover up my trays. The reason why I do that is just because it's easy, it's cheap. You know, I pull these trays out like this. The newspaper just slides off. I take a rag, we wipe it off. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I use the newspaper, and it's a free resource that I have right now, so why not use it, right? Same goes for in here. I use the newspaper on the ground, just covers up their poop, and then underneath the newspaper you can kind of see some of it shifted around. I have like some linoleum tile stuff there that I've laid down just to protect the wood from the birds. So some of the tools that I use to clean my cages. So I have this little wire brush here. You can get this at any hardware store. This comes in handy because it helps me to clean the bottom bars of my cages. Not all the cages need the bottom bars cleaned every Saturday. I have some birds that are a little bit messier than others. More typically, like my canaries, they have a little bit larger poops that tend to hit the bars and stick. You can kind of see right in here, we got some in there. So it's pretty simple. Just lift this up. We go in there, and really you just wipe it off. I have a little Goldie in here that seems to not be doing so good, so he's kind of in here getting some meds. Just like that. So it just brushes the poop off the bars, falls down into the newspaper. Then we pull the tray out, we dump the newspaper, we put some new newspaper in, right? Have a nice stack of newspaper, that's what I use. Also, I don't use this every time, but when I have birds that aren't breeding, lots of times I will clean their cages. So this is a water vinegar mix. And I use this to help disinfect their cages or disinfect their trays. Lots of times once I pull off the newspaper and I wipe it down with a rag, it still has a bunch of dry poop on it. We'll spray it with this. It just helps clean it, disinfect it, and we wipe it down. Probably about once a month or once every 2 months, I'll pull all the cages out and I'll spray the walls. I'll disinfect the walls and wipe a lot of the poop off. Even though the birds are in cages, they manage to get all sorts of stuff all over onto the walls. And I'll do the same thing here for my doors and for the walls in there, because it is a white room, so it does show a lot of the stuff. So, and then typically every when I'm swapping out my birds right now, we're breeding zebra finches. When they're done, I'm getting ready to put my Gullians in, because that's what will be next. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pull all the cages out. We're gonna disassemble each cage because they all come apart, right? And we're gonna wipe them down really good, do a really good deep clean. So that happens probably about every 3 to 4 months. And I can get those cages really clean. We'll spray them down with the water and vinegar and wipe them off, get them nice and clean, spray them down with the hose. And that just helps, one, get the cages ready for the next round of birds. It helps disinfect it with anything that these birds have. And they all live together, so, you know, I'm not worried about them getting each other sick. It's just to help get them clean. And it looks really nice once it's clean, right? And so we get nice clean white cages that the birds are happier, they enjoy it, they seem to be a lot more active when the cages are clean. It's a lot more enjoyable to see them, right? And so then down here I have a shop vacuum and a broom, so we sweep everything up, we vacuum it. Same for in here, we remove all the newspaper, then I'll sweep it up, and then I'll vacuum all the edges, get any loose seeds or feathers. And same goes for up there where their food is. I have a little scraper, kind of like a little putty knife. We scrape the bottom, make sure we get all any poop or seeds or anything like that removed, and we get that out and pull that up, and then I'll vacuum it up with the vacuum. So, and kind of with the walls, I'll kind of scrape the walls, just kind of get them a little bit clean. So that's kind of my process for cleaning the birds. It's pretty simple, you know, just I start with the cages first. We pull each tray out. I'll pull all of them out at once, stack them on each other. We'll take them to the garbage, empty them, clean them, put new newspaper in, and then put them all back in, okay? Then we'll sweep the floors, get those ready, and then we move to the aviaries. So we get the aviary, get all the newspaper out at the bottom, sweep and vacuum it. Then we'll remove all the seed and water, scrape and vacuum up all that stuff there. Kind of try and clean up the perches of some of the birds that seem to collect poop more than others, that sort of thing. One thing I do also take note of is, so these zebra finches, they have babies in the nest that are probably about 3 to 4 days old. So I'm not gonna go in and scrape the bottom of their cage because I don't wanna disturb the babies, especially when they're this young. Whereas like these guys up here, they have a couple chicks in the nest, but they're about a week and a half old. They're a lot bigger. You can actually hear the dad's feeding the babies. You can hear him kind of chirping in there. If they had, which they don't have a whole lot of poop build up there, so I won't do it this week. But their babies are a little bit bigger, so if they had a lot of poop, I could go in and scrape them and not worry about disturbing the nest and the babies too much. But with these guys being so young, I'm not even gonna touch it. We'll just remove the tray real quick, put new newspaper in, and that's all that I'll do with that cage. I don't want to disturb them more than I need to. Also, I have like shaft-tail pair here. They're in the process of building a nest right now. We can even let you see. So they've been building a nest. I'm not gonna go in and disturb them as much as I possibly can because I don't wanna. They're a lot more sensitive than your zebra finches or society finches as far as nesting goes, and the more you disturb them, the less they're gonna be good breeders for you, right? And so take that into consideration, the types of birds you have, how sensitive they are to human interaction and cleaning schedules and that sort of thing. You know, sometimes if I have chicks in the nest, I won't even touch their tray. I'll let it go for 2 to 3 weeks. It does get dirty, but it also prevents any options or chances of them abandoning their nest and their eggs, that sort of thing. So if they had eggs in there and they were sitting tightly, I wouldn't even remove their tray. I'd just leave it there for a couple weeks. Try to disturb them as least amount of possible. So that they don't abandon their nest. So keep that in mind when you clean your birds. Are they nesting? Do they have babies? Are we bugging them too much? It's important to have a clean, sanitary living space for these guys. But also, you know, if you skip 1 or 2 weeks of cleaning so that you don't have chicks being abandoned or eggs thrown on the ground, or the hen stops sitting on the eggs, that's all options you need to weigh and consider as well. So we'll get it all cleaned, show it, and then we'll show you guys the after product and give you some other tips of cleaning, things like that when we get done. Okay guys, so we're about halfway done here. So I was able to get the trays cleaned out, so you can see they got some nice clean newspaper underneath there. I was able to wipe a lot of their bars out so we don't have poop stuck in there. I added some nesting material, some cocoa fiber in here for the shaft tails. Just going along, just kind of showing you the progress here. One thing that I I failed to mention that I think needs to be talked about, and we'll kind of come over here. This part I haven't cleaned up yet, but if you look in here, see all that dust? That's 1 week's worth of dust. So birds, yes, they're messy, but they're also dusty. You see Dad feeding his baby canary there, looking good. So keep that in mind. Birds put off a lot of dander. Some birds do more than others, like the cockatiel species and cockatoos, all them, they put off tons and tons of dander and fluff. My rosy borks are a little bit cleaner. Zebra finches put off some dander. Your shaft tails and Gullian finches, they're a lot more neat and clean. Don't put off as much dander or dust. Canaries, they put off a lot of dust and dander. So you have different types of birds. It's kind of like your dog species, right? You have just dogs that shed a lot. You have some dogs that don't shed as much. You have other dogs that are hypoallergenic and don't shed, all that sort of things. You kind of have different levels of birds as well. And so just keep that in mind. You know, if you guys like to run a clean house and that sort of thing, keep in mind the type of or species of birds you get. Some put off more dust and dander and are messier than other species. So keep that in mind. So we're about done here. I still need to clean the seed dishes there, and also need to clean up this part here. So we'll show you the final product. All right, guys, got it all finished. Got the birds all cleaned. It always just seems brighter in here once you clean it. Birds are more active. It's like they know that they got a clean cage. They just seem happier. So just kind of walking around showing you, you know, how we did the newspaper. Then you come look in here, change the newspaper in there. We vacuumed all the seed up in there so it's all fresh. And they're not eating old, dirty seed off the ground. We'll show you in here as well. Get that all nice and clean. Bird seed up there is clean. Even though I don't have any males in there, my Gullian females, they're ready to breed. But once it gets hot here in about 2 weeks, it'll push them out of breeding condition because it'll be too hot. But then we kind of cleaned up over here, got all that all cleaned up, got that all nice and cleaned up. So just looks nice. Give us a good clean environment. That's kind of what I do every Saturday. That took me, you know, beginning to end, probably about 40 minutes is about what that took me. And I was trying to go a little quick because we got a lot of family stuff planned today. And so trying to not take up my whole morning with just birds. One tip to give, you know, this should be done regularly, if not daily. Make sure you're cleaning out their water dishes. Food dishes you can clean out probably like once a week, you know, as far as like washing them. But your water is really important to keep clean so that you don't have any, you know, mold or build up in there, anything like that. I have a little bit of calcium deposit just because we have such hard water here. But that's on the outside. The inside's nice and clean. So just make sure that you're keeping your water dishes really clean for your birds and you're not getting any buildup or bacteria in there. And that'll just help you have healthier birds in general, right? And so, and same goes for like the water dishes out there and stuff like that. And so, hope you guys enjoyed this. Give you maybe some tips and pointers of how to clean your bird room or bird aviary, that sort of thing. Appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully we'll get you some more updated videos on the zebra finches here coming really soon. We're getting chicks, we're getting eggs for different pairs that we're setting up. Also had some society babies come out, canary baby. So the Bork babies, which I've shown you guys already. The hen, she's sitting on more eggs right now. I need to candle those, make sure they're fertile. So lots of things going on right now. Birds are very active and breeding like crazy for me. So good things to come. Stay tuned. Appreciate you guys. Hope the birds are healthy. For those in the United States, happy 4th of July. And we'll see you guys next time.